Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Squared Circle Jerks podcast. I am your host, Fancy Pants O'Houlihan, and with me is the Serbian war criminal, Mike Rafonchek.
Allegedly.
Tomorrow is Mike's birthday, probably when this podcast will be up, so everybody say happy birthday in the comments for the rest of time.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
It is true. My dad just took me out for a birthday dinner. It was a hamburger. It was good. It was a really good hamburger. Yeah, it was a really good hamburger and some kind of soup, like curry soup deal, which was intriguing but smelly.
Some Thai curry chicken soup?
I don't think there was any chicken in it.
Was it donkey?
It might have been donkey. I've never had donkey, so you could feed me anything, claim it's donkey, and I wouldn't really know the difference.
Good old ass soup.
Indeed.
Yum, scrumdiddlyumptious.
So, we've got some NXT for you, a double dose of Impact Wrestling, and also the halftime takeover deal-em-bob that NXT did for
halftime heat.
So, doing this in chronological order as we like to do, we start with the January 24th Impact Wrestling card, live from... They're in Mexico City, right? It's just to verify that.
I think so. I know they're definitely in Mexico.
Yeah, it's definitely Mexico. I'm pretty sure it's Mexico City. We opened up with Rich Swann versus El Hijo del Vikingo, which is a very interesting wrestler that I'm intrigued to see more of. I will say that.
He seems to have some personality and a generous helping of in-ring talent. And he's a second-generation guy. El Hijo del Vikingo, or Vikingo, depending on how you're pronouncing it. Or if you're Josh Matthews, it's Vikingo! Okay. His father was El Rey Vikingo. There it was. So, King Viking. So, King Viking.
This was a pretty high spot filled, flashy match. Got both guys over pretty nicely. Rich Swann went over because, he's the champ. He's, just got that belt. You got to keep him strong. And OVE comes out to try to recruit Swann to their team yet again. They brought up his homeless past and how Sammy supposedly helped him then, which we will get more on the next week's show. So,
correct.
More to come on that. We had the debut in Impact Wrestling of one Melissa Santos.
Very nice.
She was interviewing Cross and Moose prior to Killer Cross's match with Impact. This was the line of the night. Killer Cross calmly takes his glasses off. Melissa's like, how are you feeling right now? How am I feeling right now? Well, it's quite simple. Highly homicidal. And Killer Cross, maybe top 10 promo in the business right now.
Correct.
Amazing work.
It's like him and Sami Callihan are definitely in the top 10. Let's break it down. Who's doing good promos these days? You got Sami Callihan, you got Captain Cross,
Becky Lynch.
I'm not really watching main roster Wobbly B, so I couldn't tell you who's doing what there. Gargano.
Tommy the Chomper,
although I think if Gargano wasn't doing as good as he is, then Tommy the Chomper wouldn't be on the list, but you have to put them together because they're feeding off of each other very well.
Aleister Black.
He's doing a lot better than he was, but I don't know if he's top 10.
I think his last couple of promos on Ciampa probably get him in the top 10. They were some spectacular work.
Fair enough.
If we're talking the right now of the top 10.
Yeah. Who else is doing really good promos? Taka Michinoku.
Taka's always doing good promos. That's true.
He is ZSJ.
Come over here. Who else is doing really, 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 really good promos right now? I don't know if there's anyone else really standing out. Is the problem.
Yeah, I would like to throw more, maybe Naito.
Naito, yeah. Naito
always good. Naito's always, tranquilo.
Jericho.
Yeah, that's true. Jericho's never been outside the top 10 in his whole career.
If we go back and far enough in time, he is.
No, well, if you go back far enough in time, you didn't get any promo time, so fine, you're not wrong, but you're a dick.
Even Chris Jericho will tell you there was a time he sucked at promos. I've seen the podcast about it actually.
Never. Maybe.
But anyways, the basic summary of this is Killer Cross is ready to do some violent things, and Moose points out the cage has been held up at customs.
Word.
We had Kiara Hogan and Jordan Grace backstage promo, basically about, coming for Allie, coming for Su Yung. Lights go out. There's like some writing when they come back, and it's like it's basically a warning from the Shadow, aka Rosemary.
The Shadow.
To stay the fuck away, basically. This is not your fight.
Yeah. But they didn't listen. Spoiler alert.
They did not listen. Spoiler alert. We had Kira versus Taya Valkyrie. Wasn't great, but not bad. Taya goes over to, again, keep the champ strong, so that's good. And she had a post-match promo where she basically just called Tessa a bitch, in a nutshell.
Pretty much. Like, you want some, come get some, bitch!
Yep. Rich Swann had a brief interview with Melissa Santos, where he admits that some of what Sami Callihan has been saying about the homelessness and the owing and so on is true, but that there is more to the story. And to be honest, I don't think we've actually gotten the more to the story yet.
There was some. He definitely, and he filled in details about this, that, and the other, but, he didn't get into specifics, and I'm fine with this kind of thing not having really, really specific things, other than your boy, Sami Callihan did, he said very specifically, taking care of your sick cousin Israel, and, other things like that.
I want to say Aunt Dora was referenced there as well.
Yeah, probably.
There was definitely an aunt of some kind.
That's the only specific they've thrown out, is he's definitely, but I think they've only thrown out a couple specifics so that they don't have to go into other specifics.
Mm-hmm. But this line here just made me think that Swann had something to add to Callahan's narrative, which didn't really come, because we got more information. The homelessness at 18, he took me in. He may have lost his marriage over me, etc. Which, how the hell did that happen? But
I'm pretty sure he has been divorced. So all you have to do is oh yeah, it totally has been divorced. So they're just giving you enough to make this look like a real life, real thing, which is all I need. I don't need.
No, it's a tremendously well done thing, actually. To be honest. Yeah. We had a Scarlet. Oh no, we had a Rascals promo. This was very interesting. This was them being confused about where they are, and then Wentz randomly cuts into a Mexican promo, and it was hilarious.
And then he does it again with subtitles. He's like, "Check this out!" Whoa!
It was great. It was amazing. Wentz earned 6 or 7 points off this. Mm-hmm. We had a Scarlet Bordeaux vignette where she's working out in a boner-inspiring fashion and then eats a banana in a boner-inspiring fashion. So, there we go. Then we had the Desi Hit Squad versus the Rascals. This was a pretty good match, and I do love their push moonsault finish, which is what ended the match here.
Mm-hmm.
Although, this could be the fact that we weren't watching Impact Wrestling for so long, but the Desi Hit Squad is a complete mystery to us as to why we should care.
Yeah, it's pretty much, I don't know what a Desi is. I haven't looked it up, and if I do look it up, I'll probably only get a mild translation of what it means. So I don't know what Desi means or what a Desi is, and I'm not sure why a hit squad of Desis is a thing to be feared, and they're not really pushing them as anybody who should be feared. Other than Callis is always doing a really good job of this guy's gonna punch you in the mouth, and this guy's the workhorse, and awesome. Now I know what these guys should be doing, and they're doing it, and they're not. It's not bad. There's nothing wrong with it. I don't have a connection here as to why a hit squad of Desis are a thing Or is it is it unusual for Desi's to hit people like as in a squad like nature? I don't know.
Then we had Melissa Santos interviewing Johnny Impact. Johnny says Taya's return just made him reflect on what a badass she is, which is true.
He got emotional. That was
he got
really
emotional,
good.
yeah. And how much he wants to fucking kill Killer Cross. That's really all there need to know about that.
This was the Johnny Impact old school wrestling promo award 2019 right out the gate. Like that's what you need. You know, give me 30 seconds. I'll make him believe it.
Exactly. It's a fantastic promo. And I'm not usually even all that big on Johnny Impact's promos, but when he gets them right, he really gets them right. Then we went to, speaking of good promos, Conan with LAX. By the way, Santana and Ortiz have come a long way with their promos. They're not on the top 10 that we were talking about earlier, but just some general kudos here. Conan is tearing Santana a new one about Ortiz. I'm sorry, I don't tell them apart very well.
I believe one of them has hair and the other one is also.
Yeah, I know, but I like periodically forget which one's which. Ortiz is the one with the hair, I believe. I believe he was the one getting chewed out here for the line he had at the end of Impact when he said, "If the Lucha Brothers are looking for an ass kicking, they know where we are." And Conan's like, I don't think you understand how that could be taken.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I haven't been, honestly, if I would have watched probably 3 more episodes of Impact, I'd be able to say which one's which off the top of my head, but I can't. One of them's got hair, the other one's Mexican. But neither of them are actually Mexican because they're American.
They're not actually Mexican.
They're Ameri-Mexican.
There is literally yet to be an actual Mexican in
Are you saying that Super Max isn't Mexican?
No, he's from fucking Houston.
Oh, yeah.
So that's your hilarious thing for the day. Anyways, Conan basically says, next week we're going to have a 6-man. We're going to bring in Daga. We're going to bring in Toros. And one's going to join Lucha Brothers. One's going to join LAX. And we're going to have a 6-man tag. And that's going to be really, really cool. And we know it was really cool because we saw it. Then we had Ethan Page versus Trey in a bit of a weird match, to be honest. Like, kind of a little clunky, but still pretty good. And Trey got the win with Fresh to Death, which is a hell of a name for a finisher, actually.
Correct. I can't remember what that finisher was.
I'd have to look it up to specifically tell you what it was. But like, I can
picture. Was it a flip?
It was a flippy thing, yeah.
Flippy thing.
Eli Drake and Eddie Edwards had a little bit of backstage stuff. They're having a tag match next week versus the Rascals. Looking forward to that. Saw that. It was good. Spoiler. Then we went on to Johnny Impact versus Killer Cross. I enjoyed the match, but I must say that there are no DQ match with the chairs and everything else. That was better. And that's not always the case, to be honest. Plunder matches are not always better than just a strict wrestling match. In fact, often are not. But in this case, the plunder definitely was well used and kind of masked, some shortcomings in Killer Cross's wrestling game that still do exist. But it was still pretty good. Cage comes in. He just attacks fucking everybody. There's a brief alliance between Impact and Cage. They clear house. Johnny taunts Cage with the belt. Not the smartest idea. And then, stunningly enough, Cage just leaves peacefully. It's I thought we were going to get more to that, but we did not. But yeah, this is a pretty good episode of Impact, even if the actual matches themselves are relatively predictable in terms of who's going to win. But you got to showcase some Mexican talent like Vikingo, and while I wasn't big on the match, Keira was there. And hopefully we'll get more on this as they continue their tour.
Correct. And then on down to Guatemala.
Then we had NXT from January 30th. We opened up with what I just termed as Japanese Lotus versus Horsewomen. They're calling them the Sky Pirates, which is actually not a bad name. I feel like that's an anime or a cartoon I watched as a child. But I could be wrong.
Isn't it Howl's Moving Sky Pirates? Isn't that what that was?
That might be, yeah.
Laputa,
Anyways,
Sky Pirates in the sky.
not a lot to say about this match because Marina Shafir and Jessamine Duke are still not ready.
No, they're not ready to be on TV.
The nicest thing I can say is they are better than I expect them to be because Shafir can do some basic shit and Duke isn't killing anyone. So, better than I expected because I honestly expected a broken neck.
The only thing I have a real problem with is their pose down in the intro of the match is garbage.
They don't really have the physicality for it.
Well, no, they've got the one that has two bones and a tendon in her arm trying to do the kneel down and flexy. I'm like, why? Do I need to see like the growth rings in your bone? You don't have muscles. Don't flex like that. Stop.
Yeah. If they legitimately want to do this horsewoman on horsewoman feud soonish, and I've heard rumors that they would like to do it at Survivor Series. It's not gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen anyway. There's apparently no plans at all to do this horsewoman thing.
Yeah, which makes me wonder why they keep fucking referencing it. Like, if there's no
because
plan,
commentary
there's no plan.
keeps, I don't know, because commentary doesn't have anything else. There's nothing else to talk about. You've got these two completely untrained women in the ring against two of the best wrestlers in the world.
No. Like they referenced it during the Sasha Banks match with Ronda Rousey as well. Like,
well, yeah, because they don't have any other. They didn't plan a storyline for that one. It's the easiest go-to short term. Jinder Mahal-esque like champion overnight shit. It's like here it is, and then they're gonna throw Bailey at her next. And here it is, and it's not gonna work then either. So it's just like it's like watching somebody trying to pull start a lawnmower that has no gas. Like, what are you doing? What are you trying to sell?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm getting at. Is like, I mean, if you're not gonna do this, then just fucking drop it. If you are going to do this, figure out a fucking plan. Yeah,
well, there's all the conflict about Ronda Rousey's contract, so we don't know if she signed for 3 years, but she's only going to wrestle for 1 year with, like, sporadic appearances for 2 more, or if she signed for 3 years and she's wrestling for 3 years, or she only signed a 1-year contract, a la what Ric Flair said, and then after WrestleMania she's done. So then you can't do a 4 horsewoman thing. And why would you bother? Why wouldn't you have like a giant faction of awesome ass-kicking women who just like reign of terror nonstop? I would rather watch that than any kind of fake competitive bullshit.
We had a Johnny Takeover little interview. Johnny Takeover's new champ. Johnny Takeover wins, and it feels great.
Tantalizing.
Then we had the worst promo I think I've seen in a long fucking time, and that was Bianca Belair.
Oh, God.
Talking about how being undefeated is a mindset. It is not.
It isn't.
It is,
no,
it is factually incorrect.
It's a statistical thing.
She's like, and I am still undefeated. Who is feeding her these lines, and please fire them?
Yeah, that is the worst promo I've ever seen. I don't know if they're telling her to inhabit her character and then not giving her lines to say, or if they're just giving, it's either that, or they're only giving her lines to say, and they're just letting her get one take in, and that's it. Because it is the worst fucking shit I have ever heard. And please never again.
And I would like to be clear, I don't actually fault Bianca Belair for this, because it's like,
no,
they gave her, you're going to claim to be undefeated, you're going to claim it's a mindset, even after you just lost. What the fuck is she supposed to do with that?
Yeah, it's the dumbest. And it's like they're giving her the lines 8 minutes before she has to go out there. And she's only got enough time to remember what the lines are and have no, okay, I guess I have to just be like sassy black woman who wants to see the manager of the company. That's the only thing, that's the default, that's the only thing she can do. There's no time to develop anything. And she's not in a position in her career where she can say, this is dumb as fuck. Because she doesn't have the experience to know what's dumb as fuck. And she doesn't probably have any kind of stroke to go, hey, no, I'm not doing this. This is garbage.
Yeah, pretty much sums it up. Apparently she may or may not, or may be working, or may be shooting with Sam Roberts on Twitter about Sam Roberts apparently had a whole thing about her not deserving a title shot.
Yeah.
That they're debating whether it's a work or a shoot.
Well,
Sam's
it was on the
claiming
pre-show.
it's a shoot. Yeah.
It was on the pre-show for TakeOver, and Sam Roberts was like, this is a waste of time. She's not ready, which she isn't, and he's right. So, sorry for speaking truth, but he's right. You're not ready. You're like, she's at a point in her career now where she could start coming on to NXT, and she could start to develop a character. The problem is that they pushed her so hard, so fast, so quick. She has no character development. She's just sassy black woman number 7. They've stapled a yak pelt to her head and make her whip her head around, and she has to deal with it. And then, I guess, like, sprayed half of her face with rhino liner. But, like, that, please don't do the foot-thick lipstick anymore. Please don't.
Actually, Charlotte on the main roster is starting to do a similar look. I was watching SmackDown while me and my dad were at the bar eating. No sound, but whatever. But she came out, cut a promo, and I just went, oh, she's like slowly becoming Bianca Belair.
Yeah, Charlotte Flair's never been... Unless Charlotte Flair's doing off-the-cuff angry Charlotte Flair, she's no good as a promo. Her promos are garbage, stilted, and just kind of very, very formulaic. Like the time when they did the face-to-face on the red carpet between Ronda Rousey and whoever else it was, and Charlotte Flair, on cue, marches over, because I swear to God they had the footsteps outlined on the red carpets for her to like a dance pattern, so she could like go over, crouch down between the two of them, look directly at the camera in a very orchestrated way, and say some bullshit like, "This is gonna be good! Woo!" And it was universally mocked for months.
Yes, pretty much.
She's not that bad all the time, but it's very orchestrated, and it's very, very by the numbers. And you can tell the difference between Becky Lynch being Becky Lynch and everybody else. There's a big gap there.
In the women's department, there is a big gap.
It's the difference. Remember when they did Roman Reigns and John Cena for like 2 weeks because they didn't have anything else for anybody else to do, and then what was it, 3 weeks? Probably 3 weeks, and John Cena embarrassed him on the mic 24/7 because he couldn't remember his lines, and John Cena's not using lines.
Yeah. The only close promo in the women's division to her is Sasha Banks. The problem is that Banks' character is so damaged that her promos are not remotely believable. Like they have botched that push so hard.
Oh yeah.
And of course, speaking of Charlotte, what's the over/under or what's the chances that they, in order just to get Charlotte Flair involved in another first, that she main events Mania with Becky and Ronda?
Apparently not that good. Apparently they really want it to be Lynch versus Ronda. And Asuka was supposed to be in there. So it was supposed to be like a 3-way between, I can't remember. They've done so many dumb fucking things. But it was either going to be a 3-way again between Flair, Becky, and Asuka. But then they wanted Becky versus Ronda. So it's going to be a matter of, is Ronda sticking around? And so they're just going to bury Lynch and throw all the money in the world away and de-push her until she quits the company? Or is Ronda really on her way out and they're going to give an actual star the actual, push that she deserves?
I very much hope that it's Becky versus Ronda and Asuka versus Charlotte, because if you mix Charlotte into a 3-way with Ronda and Becky, or Asuka into a 3-way with Ronda and Becky, you leave literally nothing else for the other one to do.
Yeah, well, the only thing you could do is start actually getting your shit together and having real storylines again with people who know what they're doing, who aren't 80 years fucking old. And do a Bayley. You'd start right now from this exact instant in time, and you have a Bayley versus Asuka feud. But I think they're on different brands.
Like that's
out the window. You can't do that.
Yeah, there's really
nobody for Asuka to wrestle.
There is really no one else on SmackDown for Asuka to challenge for Asuka's belt. No, I mean you don't want to do. For the love of God, don't do Carmella again.
Fuck.
Holy crap.
Unless you're going to bury... Listen, if you're going to do Carmella versus Asuka at WrestleMania, I need it to be 18 seconds flat. I need Asuka to come out, kick her square in the head, and pin her.
And then your other options would be like the Iconics and...
Oh, God, the Colonics.
I mean...
They're so terrible.
I guess you could decide to put Nikki Cross on SmackDown and have her challenge.
Yes, I would do that.
That would be your only other real option.
Dude, last woman standing match part 2. Hello.
I'd be down with that. Speaking of Nikki Cross, continual Twitter complaining from Eric Young and company insanity.
Yeah. Well, they don't get on TV. They're like, what the fuck?
Oh, yeah. It's complete waste.
Yep. Quit, boys. There's so much opportunity out there. You've got all the hype in the world, all the shine. Just get out of there.
Problem is, you got it. The WWE seems to be like kind of bizarre on who they're letting giving the release. Like supposedly they gave Kenta his release.
Yep.
But
his contract was ending anyway.
Yeah. Well, they still gave him the early release.
Yeah.
Whereas the Kanellis' ask, nah, we're gonna bend you over the table and fuck you in the ass still.
Yeah, I don't understand that. And the weird thing, I don't know if we brought that up before, but the weird thing is that the rumor going around is that Mike Bennett wants to go back to ROH. He's not going to AEW. But that can change because money.
It would make sense that he wouldn't want to go to AEW because his relationship with the Bucks is not good.
Oh, really?
Not like they're like bitter, hated enemies or anything, but they're not friendly. So ROH would seemingly be a better spot for Bennett.
I guess. I don't know. I've never heard of anybody not being friendly with the Bucks. I thought like the entire universe was friendly with the Bucks.
There are definitely, I think, a couple of people that are not tremendously big Buck fans.
Huh. Well,
mostly guys who can't keep up with them in the ring.
Yeah, I can dig that.
Well, Cordy would be one of them. Kenny King's another. There you go. Then we had the War Raiders cut a promo. It was complete cookie cutter. Reign starts now. Moving on. We had Matt Riddle talk about how he beat up Cassius Ohno till he tapped and he made his mark and will break anyone else. It was serviceable.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the promo was serviceable, but we went over that last week. Like, he was never in the feud. There was never a feud in the first place.
Yeah. Then we had Street Profits versus Forgotten Sons with Jackson Riker as the manager, so to speak, the heavy. The Sons went over here because Jackson Riker interfered in the match and clotheslined. I want to say it was Montez Ford. My memory of this match is fading already, unfortunately.
Yeah. The only spot I remember, and it was a really good spot, is you had, which is the bigger of the two Street Profits again?
Dawkins.
All right. So you had Dawkins. Eventually, this is like 2/3 of the way through the match, I think. Dawkins and Gunner, Jackson Riker, did a face-to-face thing, and there was this immediate kind of like, oh, what's going to happen here? This is like, we got two like large mammal creatures facing off and angry at each other. And so Dawkins starts moving towards Jackson Riker, and one of the dudes from Forgotten Sons does a tope suicida, blindsiding Dawkins. It was great. I loved that. That was a great, well done moment. Fantastic. Other than that, I don't remember a thing.
There was a big splash by Montez Ford, who gets serious height on his jumps and has all the athletic ability I would want in a wrestler. Just missing kind of the connecting tissue to his game.
Yeah. That and personality.
I think he actually has personality. I think the problem is that his personality is not what they keep asking him to portray, which I think is a bit of a problem when it comes down to it. Like, I mean, it's often said the best wrestling gimmicks are your personality, or an element of your personality turned up to 11. And if they're trying to make him be something that he's just not, probably going to hinder it.
Yeah, it's always that way, and they always have, I envision you as a carpenter who wrestles every third Sunday of every 14th month, and so we'll utilize that heavily. It'll be a numerology thing and calculated, but I just want to wrestle, and I'm kind of good at being a dick. No, we want you to be like the salt of the earth, kind of, but I don't do that. Well, I mean, it works
and not salt of the earth like MJF.
Yeah, it's like, okay, that won't work. Okay, but it worked totally, really awesome for Charlotte Flair, who's a natural heel, but we made a face that no one cheers. Oh,
Well,
wait.
she appears to be going more in the heel direction now, so at least they figured
Which,
that shit out.
god damn it, about fucking time.
Forgotten Sons go over here because they, need a fucking win, frankly.
They need anything.
Need something. They're still getting We Forgot You chance. It's not great.
Well, yeah, because they only put them on TV every 4 months. And quite frankly, we don't. They gave them one promo package. They've had 3 matches now? 4 matches now?
3 or 4.
Somewhere in there. They got 1 win, I think. Maybe 2? I don't know.
I think they're 3-1, but 2 of their wins are over complete jobber teams.
Yeah, I don't know, whatever. But it's just, like, I don't have any reason. And this is going to be another thing where they're going to have this faction where nobody remembers why they're a faction. And they need to really reinforce why they're a faction. These guys are supposed to be ex-veterans.
It's also that their backstory doesn't really in any way work, because specifically one of them, Cutler and Riker. Well, Riker, this is actually Riker's backstory, so that's fair enough. And Cutler works as well. But Blake doesn't really work because we know Blake.
Isn't he Australian?
Yeah, he was a tag team with Murphy. For like a long time, they had an NXT tag team title reign.
I mean, this would actually work better as a faction with Randy Orton, even though he is a giant piece of fucking garbage.
Yeah, but they're a heel faction, so that works.
Yeah, that's true. Apparently, they were going to have Randy Orton in the Marine too, and the Marines were like, "Excuse me," and the WWE was like, "Oh, right, okay, no, we see your point."
Yeah, they backed down on that quick. I think it was actually Marine 3. He was the pick before The Miz.
Oh, wow.
I think that's what it was.
There was only really one Marine movie. Come on.
There's one good one. I enjoyed the John Cena one.
His name is Juan Cena.
Juan Cena. Anyways, Impact Wrestling January 31st opened up with Lucha Brothers and Taurus versus LAX and Daga, and this was
it's pretty good.
This was all the fucking spots, and it was really, really good. Oh.
All the dives. You got 12, 15 minutes, go out there and make me feel it. Right, got you, boss.
They did. This was a hell of a showcase for Mr. Taurus, who I was not overly familiar with. This was a hell of a showcase for Daga, who we've been exceedingly mixed in from our Lucha Underground.
Yeah,
recordings.
I kind of liked him, but they never really gave him what he, like Tejano and Lucha Underground. They used Tejano perfectly. Like, that's Tejano. But Daga always seemed to be kind of like a playboy that they never gave the playboy gimmick to. It's sort of I don't know how to explain it. Like, he always kind of gave me that vibe. And they just really didn't ever go that direction. It was really weird.
Mm-hmm.
Especially even though he's got, like, this chick's pursuing him. Like, this strange Cobra chick is really, really jonesing for that. Why isn't he just like, the smooth kind of serpent king? Why wasn't that a thing? I don't know.
Yeah, because they had him kind of hook up with Cobra, but then Drago was the king / slave, and Daga disappeared for a long ass time, and then he came back, and yeah, I don't that's a storyline that really went interesting yet nonsensical places.
Yeah, and I mean, we joked and conjectured about his drug use, and maybe that's a real thing. I don't know. Maybe they're like, oh, he's on all the drugs. We can't really push that. He's not reliable.
Maybe.
But it definitely would have fed into the Playboy aspect of things.
Team Mask, which was the Lucha Bros and Taurus, went over here. Pentagon challenged the champs after the match. Conan accepted for them. We're getting LAX versus Lucha Bros too. Thank you very much.
Diggity.
Then, and of course, the other news in regards to this, the Lucha Bros were offered a contract by AEW via the Young Bucks, which Chris Jericho said was exclusive, which was then shut down. So it is not exclusive, but they are doing the AEW thing. So I don't know. What are your chances they take the belts off of LAX and put them on the Lucha Boys?
I would say if you want a tour of success, you put them on the. I mean, if you want the best tag team in your company to have the belts, you probably should do that. Um, the exclusivity thing, I think, is up in the air in as much as Lucha Underground is still technically a viable thing, but outside of that, I think the Lucha Brothers just probably have, you know, maybe not per appearance deals with people, but I don't know what their legal situation is, so it might be per appearance.
Yeah, that's kind of the weird thing. And of course, there's also some, not very strong ones, mind you, but a couple of rumors that LAX might be shopping their services around to go elsewhere as well. So it's been a weird spot. The result of this match may tell us a lot more about the backstage politics than we would think.
Well, same thing with AJ Styles. Nobody knows what he's doing. There's apparently, into the rumor mill, apparently AEW has made a massive offer to a top WWE guy.
To a top guy?
A top guy. So I have to assume that's either Ziggler or Styles. One of the two.
I don't even think it can be Ziggler, because I don't. To be honest, I don't think of Ziggler as a top guy, and I have not for a long time.
I've kind of always thought of Ziggler as a top guy that was never allowed to be a top guy. It's sort of like an Owen Hart type situation where he's like he's your best wrestler, absolutely your best wrestler, and you're never going to push him because you just can't get on board with talent or making money.
Yeah, the lack of a push Owen Hart received always did puzzle me.
Mm-hmm.
Like as a kid, even now, still puzzling.
Yeah, and so that's what Ziggler is. Ziggler is this generation's Owen Hart. The best wrestler you got. He's got tons of personality. He can carry anybody to a great match. And all people want to do is see him be successful, but you won't let that happen. So I assume that it's either AJ, and apparently there's more conflicting stuff about AJ, like, does his contract end? Did his contract end the end of January? Does his contract end in April?
I tend to side with the April rumors on this.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned this before. WWE traditionally doesn't like to have their contracts end in January because they like to be able to plan WrestleMania in January.
Yeah.
And also they like to have your contract end near WrestleMania. That way they could be like, I mean, you can re-sign this contract, or, I mean, we might have to rethink about your role at WrestleMania. How do you feel about the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal?
Yeah, it's like, fine, whatever, you're paying me the same either way, bitch.
Well, no, because that's a pre-show match. You don't get the same pay.
But I'm pretty sure somebody in AJ Styles' position might have a different skew on things legally.
I meant more as a general rule.
Yeah, that's fine.
As opposed to specifics on AJ.
Yeah.
I'm sure AJ has something in his contract.
Yeah, well, I'm sure.
But it came up with the Neville thing because Austin Aries and Neville didn't have their cruiserweight title match wasn't on the DVD, so that affected their revenue off of the matter because they weren't getting royalties off DVD sales.
That's true. So it's I don't know. It's kind of all up in the air, and I assume that the major offer is probably aimed at Ziggler rather than AJ, but I would not be surprised at this stage in the game with crazy billionaires throwing money around. Who the fuck knows? And also we don't know about that. Like, how much money are the crazy billionaires throwing around? Are they, are these WCW level contracts? Are these like we're matching WWE and you get to, at this point you're working less dates and you travel a lot less because all you have to do is do like the Impact thing and come to where we're filming for like a couple weeks? Or, nobody knows any of this. And it's pure conjecture.
It's entirely conjecture. One, until AEW actually gets a TV deal, gets that set up, starts doing shows. Because, I mean, at this point, like, the possibility of AEW is helping wrestlers in their negotiation positions, but it still has to materialize into an actual thing until we really have the answer.
Well, and that's the other thing is with the TV deal that apparently, and Jericho said this multiple times, that, like, I was probably going to sign with Impact, but I saw what they gave me this goddamn offer, and B, I saw what they were going to do with TV. So apparently this week, the AEW boys are going to different stations. Everybody who's made an offer for them, they're going to do meetings this week and next week. And they're going to have, I don't know, like they might have TV up and running by summer. Who knows? I don't know. They might just give them a summer spot after like regular TV's done, and they might never leave. So I don't know how quickly this is moving. I don't know what their plans are. I have no idea. It's their second show that they got Double or Nothing lined up, and then if you haven't watched the latest episode of Being the Elite, they go over a lot of it in their video, but okay. So their third show, which is supposed to be, I believe, in September, is that going to be their first pay-per-view after they've had TV for a few months? Nobody knows. Is it going to be?
By the way, I heard a rumor completely through the grapevine. This is entirely unsubstantiated. I want to make that quite clear here. But there is a slight rumor that someone might be turning up at Double or Nothing that we really haven't even talked about.
Oh, I think I heard that as well. I just can't remember the name.
Was it one Davey Richards?
No, actually wasn't.
There you go. There's something for you to stew on for a little bit.
I mean, I'm good with that. If one DeVitas Ricardo wants to kick people square in the chest, I will watch that 24 hours a day.
I mean, I guess under that range, because every time I think of Davey Richards, I think of Finn Balor, because the first time I ever saw Finn Balor wrestle, it was against Davey Richards, and it was a fucking amazing match in PWG. Go look that up. But
what if Finn Balor leaves?
Yeah, well, I was getting into that is Finn Balor. We're not getting Brock Lesnar versus the Demon, so ball dropped.
Oh fuck! So much money left on the table, dude. That was match number 1 of a quadrilogy, and they're never gonna have that match ever again.
Yep.
Is this gonna be like M. Night Shyamalama Ding Dong, where he needs to I need to have 20 years between Unbreakable and any other continuous type stuff?
Yeah, maybe. So back to the show, we had Melissa Santos interviewing Killer Moose, which is Killer Cross and Moose, of course. Cross is fired up. He wants blood. Moose is like, calm down. So we're just going to let them implode, and then we're going to go out. We're going to get some tequilas. Then maybe I'm going to take Melissa out on a date. That might not be something you want to move. That might not be something you want to say when you're about to go into the match with Mr. Cage.
That is absolutely the wrong move.
You may want to leave Mrs. Cage alone.
Yeah.
Then again, I mean, he kind of did this same thing with Eddie Edwards and Alicia. So there you go. Then we had an LAX promo. Conan is blessing the match this time. Just wants them to keep it professional. I did enjoy Santana with the owning up to it. It's like it was my bad. I said some things that maybe shouldn't have been said. Maybe I called some people bitches. And then we moved on to a Su Yung and Dark Alley versus Kiera Hogan and Jordan Grace match. The story of this match was quite simple. Kiera Hogan's a dumbass who keeps distracting the referee and letting her partner get 2-on-1.
This was Team Psycho versus Team Super Booty.
Yeah, that is true. That's true. Jordan Grace got to do some good power spots here. Didn't look like she struggled with them, so points. And the lights glitched out. Su Yung is gone. Rosemary's in her place. Freaks the fuck out of Allie. Hogan comes in, hits her from behind, pins her. And your winner of the faces.
Hooray! Super Booty rides again.
We got to see Scarlett Bordeaux beat up her assistant, basically, and knock him into the pool.
I didn't know this was supposed to be... I thought she was literally abusing some other hotel guest. I had no idea what this was about.
It's her assistant.
I've never seen an assistant mentioned or present at anything ever before.
That's because you miss her promos half the time.
Guess, maybe? I don't know. I don't remember her ever even mentioning she had an assistant.
That is her assistant. He's been there for the last 3 or 4 promos.
I don't believe you.
Then we had Eddie Edwards and Eli Drake versus the Rascals. This was actually a pretty entertaining match.
This is really good.
There was a lot of good storyline work here with Eli keeping Kenny away from Eddie, and then eventually using Kenny to get the win.
I enjoyed it. It was like, no, and then afterwards he's like, no, you don't need this. You don't need this. I need it, and you don't need this.
This is quickly becoming one of my favorite storylines, actually, in the entire promotion. I'm really intrigued to see how this is going to go. I'm really intrigued to see how Raven plays back into this at some point. Probably.
I would love to see Raven to AEW confirmed.
Not as a wrestler. As a creative mind, yes. As a wrestler, no.
I would agree with that.
Maybe a once in a while wrestler, but not on a regular basis.
There was this wild, crazy ass, dumb fucking rumor a couple weeks ago that Brock Lesnar was going to sign with AEW for a big payday, and my brain went, "That's not a thing." Unless he's willing to go for a pay cut.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Brock Lesnar would totally sign for AEW if it was for more money.
Yeah,
absolutely. This is a guy who does not care about wrestling. He just cares about getting paid. That's all there's to it. You offer him the most money, you got Brock Lesnar. That's basically how this works.
Yep.
But I don't see Vince being outbid for him, and I don't necessarily think it's even a good idea. Like, it would bring a lot of attention to AEW, but you would think that maybe it would stir up a little bit of hatred or dissension from the fans, because Brock Lesnar is very much everything that the hardcore wrestling fans don't enjoy.
Absolutely.
Everything wrong with the business, as it were.
I immediately dismissed this rumor because it's like, that's not anything that anybody wants, unless you can convince me that Brock Lesnar is actually going to wrestle a match, for fuck's sake, which he doesn't do anymore. So why would he take what I would view as a pay cut for even fewer dates? Because you got to know that they're not going to sign him as a wrestler. He's an attraction, one-time deal, maybe 2 times a year, period, which is what he does now. And he's not going to make more money going there unless he really fucking hates some of the hierarchy in WWE. There's no fathomable reason for him to do this when he can play I almost said ECW, WWE and UFC off against each other for increasing amounts of money. Why bother?
Absolutely. We had Tessa Blanchard cut a little bit of a promo about how much of a coward Taya is. She wasn't looking in the fucking camera, so lose points there. Then we had a little Rich Swann OVE package talking about, Swann being homeless, how he helped him. We talked about this earlier, basically, but we got the additional thing of Rich Swann saying, "Sammy did help me. I owe Sammy a lot. Sammy sees the best in you, and he takes it from you to serve him. And that's not me." So, once again, rejecting the OVE offer. I'm intrigued to see where this goes. Very intrigued.
Yeah, there's the more subtle thing was when he went to, like, he's trying to say he's always got a place, and he didn't ever say "in my heart," but he's tapping his chest. He's got a place, and he's like, but does he though? Yeah, no, yeah, he's got a place in my heart. He said without saying it out loud. But right now, he's like, the underlying subtext is that Sami Callihan isn't in the frame of mind where he could be a friend to somebody. He's going to be controlling influence, and that's all he is going to be. So is this going to be like a Sami Callihan redemption story, or like, nobody knows?
It's kind of like, he's got a spot in my heart, and I love what Sammy was, not what Sammy is right now.
Yeah,
is kind of the deal. So I'm liking this. I'm enjoying this. Taya challenges Tess to do a street fight at Uncaged. We had Falaba versus Psycho Clown. This is a pretty short match, actually, to be honest. But
yeah, well, I think it had to be.
And Psycho Clown wins with one of the greatest Mahistra cradles I've ever seen. So
dude, that thing was tight because it had to be.
Then we had a very Nakamura, AJ Styles deal where Cage comes storming in Impact's locker room. He's like, "I'm your guardian angel tonight. I'm here to protect you, Make sure you're nice and healthy. Make sure that there are no excuses when I beat you. And Impact's reaction was great. He's like, oh, come on, you still complaining about this? I mean, come on, we're facing each other on Cage. They named a fucking pay-per-view for you. And then he's like, just don't screw me over. And then we briefly had like AAA guys talking Spanish and getting hyped up for Team AAA versus Team Impact.
Nuevo Pueblo, rapidamente. Sorry, I don't speak Spanish.
Then we had Killer Cross and Moose versus Impact and Cage. Cage and Impact, tension there, but largely working together well. And that ends, though, when Johnny Impact accidentally kicks Mr. Cage. And then Mr. Cage goes to lariat him, but actually kills Killer Cross. And then they get into an argument, and Cage does nothing as Moose spears Impact and gets the win.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I liked it.
Yeah, all the right storylines are advanced here. I must say, Moose and Killer Cross are one of the weirder tag teams I think I've ever seen, because you've got you've got arguably the two top heels in the company working as a cohesive tag team. It's a bit weird. It's a bit weird. Maybe if we go back to like two-man power trips, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Triple H, we get a similar dynamic. But it's not usually a dynamic that's used much, and it's kind of interesting to see it work here.
I would agree.
And then we had the NXT Halftime Heat. This was just one match. It's 6-man tag, Aleister Black, Velveteen Dream, and Ricochet versus Adam Cole, baby. And the evil DIY tandem of Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. I enjoyed Shawn Michaels and Vic Joseph as commentary. I was pleasantly surprised by that.
Well, Shawn Michaels was a really good hype man. He basically hyped the shit out of everybody and says nothing but good things about everybody. And Vic Joseph isn't an asshole and usually says things that are insightful, at least somewhat insightful, and then always, I haven't heard him be incorrect about anything that I can remember. So it's, kind of the best case scenario. It's almost as if they hired a professional commentary team for once in their goddamn lives. My only complaint is that somebody had turned Shawn Michaels' microphone way down. Like, he was not loud enough.
That's true. This was a really good match. The two teams, despite being, ostensibly three singles guys on a team, were actually really well tuned. They worked together really, really well. I did like the little hint of tension when Johnny Gargano is going to tag in either Cole or Ciampa, and Ciampa's got his arm out like, come on. He tags in Cole with like a look at Ciampa that still has that hint of, I'm still not sure if this is my thing. Still not sure about this evil DIY thing.
I'm sure about it.
We both are. Ricochet kicked out of a Cole Destroyer in this match, which was a little bit of a moment.
It was a second rope, what do we call it? Panama Sunrise, I think he called it.
Yeah. Is that what they call it?
That's what was called on commentary. It's a Canadian Destroyer.
Yeah, it's a Canadian Destroyer. I know what the move is. That's why I said Cold Destroyer. But it's a flip pile driver. But call it whatever you want. Actually, I like the Panama Sunrise though. That's nice.
Correct.
Although Sunset, I think, would work better. Or did you say Sunset and I just heard Sunrise for some reason?
Panama Sunrise.
There we go. Ricochet ended up in the ring all alone with all the heels and gets super kicked by everybody. And then Aleister Black makes a save. Adam Cole eats a black mass. Dream Driver, 450, and Purple Rainbow Elbow for the 3 count. And I call it Adam Cole here to eat the pin.
It's the purple yogurt slinger off the top rope.
This match was not particularly great in terms of psychology and telling a story, although there were little interesting tidbits of the story. It was a spot fest, but
it was great.
Given the goal here, which was to give a lively halftime show for the Super Bowl, basically, that was everything it needed to be.
Yes, I enjoyed it. It was good. It was way better than the Super Bowl, so, I mean, job done.
That's not hard.
If you want to rank it as on a scale between that and the actual Super Bowl halftime, you would literally be sentenced to death for choosing the actual Super Bowl halftime. That's a literal crime against humanity.
Exactly. There has not been a good Super Bowl halftime show in like years.
Ever. There's never been one. There's literally never been a good. They try and appeal to teeny boppers who aren't watching the Super Bowl. You fucking morons.
Or if they are, they're watching, with their parents or at a Super Bowl party where they don't have control of the remote.
Yeah. It's literally the worst decision you can make, and they do it every year. I don't remember. I think they had Aerosmith play it one year, and they were trash. It was literally the worst version of Aerosmith I've ever seen. It was horrible.
I enjoyed Bruno Mars a little bit.
What? How is that even possible?
Bruno Mars, if I'm in the right mood, kind of strikes something with me. I don't know.
I don't understand that at all.
But then they got like Beyonce and shit involved, and I'm like, and we're done. We're over. We're dead.
Pretty much.
It's done.
Also, dude from Maroon 5 whipped his tits out on stage. Why no fine? Why no outrage?
Yeah, there's no outrage for male topless nudity.
Smash the matriarchy.
Because guys can go topless and women don't make a stink. Women go topless, women make a stink. That's how that works.
I do not. It must be other women that are having a problem with that.
You're not a woman.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I don't have a problem, but there was a large furor, therefore it must be other women. Therefore, smash the matriarchy.
So that is our show for this week, unless we have any last second news that we didn't touch on, because we talked a lot about the AEW rumors and shit.
Not that I can think of. They're going to have another rally when? Is it a couple weeks or a month or 2 months or something?
I believe it's about a month and a half from now.
About a month and a half, so they're probably going to wait on I would assume they're going to wait on the Kenny Omega signing announcement until then. Because his contract is now officially up and has been for a week. Oh, well, not quite a week. But I assume that they're going to let Kenny Omega WrestleMania rumors play up as hard and fast as they possibly can. And then make the announcement that, hey, that guy that you all think about and talk about constantly, yeah, he's with us now. I assume that's what's going to happen, but I don't know. And yeah, there's
that is actually why it would probably be best for WWE just to almost ignore Kenny Omega being a free agent, because you're not getting him. No. So you might as well not stoke the rumor mill and actually cut off a little bit of kind of free publicity for AEW when he does sign.
Yeah, well, the only thing they're doing now is providing retrospective hype, in as much as people are going, oh yeah, by the way, this was the contract offer they gave me, and I turned it down, and I signed with these guys. So that's the only thing WWE is good for anymore, is putting on NXT takeovers and providing people with incentive not to actually be on their main roster.
Oh, well, except for the NXT women's division right now, which is not great.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah.
All right, that is our show. We will be doing race commentary in 2 days' time, so get ready for that.
2 days?
2 days.
You're not busy tomorrow, don't lie to me.
Yes, I am. It's Bathurst tomorrow. No. We got to do that shower tomorrow.
Not there, Showerhurst.
Oh, and he's probably not going to watch this episode, but a shout out to my cousin Kevin, who is now an expectant father.
Wow, congratulations, Kevin. Your dick works great. That guy fucks.
He's been passing around the ultrasound photo to the family members today. So there we go.
Word on the street is that Kevin's dick is amazing and has the potential to actually spontaneously generate life.
Yes, we'll go with that.